Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You is a pretty wholesome manga series that's coming out. It's a slice of life with an age gap, rom-com kind of dynamic mixed in, but definitely a slow burn. The premise is pretty ridiculous, and the age gap element is definitely not something I'm a fan of generally, but I think it's handled pretty well here. Obviously, age gaps in relationships are a huge topic of discussion. Obviously, in the real world, they work out sometimes and happen totally naturally. Sometimes a guy is going through a midlife crisis and going after a younger woman, or a cougar is doing the same thing for a younger guy, whatever. I don't really care to get into all that. Purely from a story perspective, I'm generally not a fan just because people of different ages tend to be at different stages in their life. Obviously, having the characters be close in age kind of forces them to be in similar situations oftentimes. If you're the same age and work at the same place as somebody, probably going through similar things in life, live in similar areas, so you're culturally similar, same hobbies, blah, blah, blah. But I think it works in this one because Sasaki is mid-40s. He's just kind of a burnt out, beaten down salary guy. And Yamada/Tayama is in her mid-20s. So it's about a 20-year gap. But I think it works in this one because it starts out as purely a platonic thing where Sasaki is just going to the same store every day and seeing Yamada every day. And the reason I said Yamada or Yamada, whose name I'm sure I'm fucking up, I do it for all anime and manga, has an outfit that she uses to smoke where she looks way different and calls herself Tayama. So the general premise is he goes to the same supermarket after getting off late very frequently. Yamada works at the register, and he's essentially just glad to see her because she's a young, attractive woman. So it's just like a nice way to end his day, but there's not really anything sexual there. And you can see here when she's dressed in her casual outfit and she does her hair differently, she calls herself Tayama to mess with Sasaki. And they do try to lampshade it a bit in the manga, where the characters outside of her point out that it's kind of weird he hasn't recognized. But even the manager's like, I wonder how she got her hair length to change. And you get like a little diagram of how she shortened her hair so much. So she does have a different appearance and vibe. And obviously I wouldn't know if she has a different dialect or something because it's manga. So obviously plot-wise, there's not a ton going on. It's mainly just them kind of chilling and slowly getting to know each other while hanging out, smoking behind the supermarket. Like I said, it's primarily a slice of life. And I think part of what makes it worse is Tayama asks outright if Sasaki always chooses Yamada's line because he wants to hit on her or is attracted to her. And he clearly says no. He acknowledges that she's attractive, but he's like, I'm way too old for her. But it's just kind of a nice way to end my day after being stuck in a cubicle and getting yelled at all day, which we see repeatedly. I think part of what makes it work too is even though she's a lot younger than he is, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm in my mid-30s. It would be really hard for me to imagine dating a girl in her early 20s, maybe even mid-20s, depending on the girl. But they're both in a similar position in life in the sense that they kind of just work and are getting by, both sort of stuck in a place that they didn't really imagine. And the Yamada persona plays the more wholesome, sweet cashier girl, while Tayama likes to tease him and kind of pretend to be the go-between between Sasaki and Yamada. So obviously a lot of it is her kind of messing with him and him being really self-conscious because he doesn't want to be the weird old man and have to find a different supermarket. So overall, the vibe is pretty chill. I enjoy the little comedic moments and just the dynamic between the two of them. There's really not much drama. You get a little bit here and there, but it's not over the top or dragged out or anything like that. It's a pretty short read. Right now, it's around chapter 45, and it's monthly, but it started out as just kind of whenever the mangaka or author, whatever you want to fucking call them, felt like it. So the initial chapters are pretty short, and it does seem like progress will be happening relatively soon based on the last couple of chapters. And if you're a bit of a sucker for just kind of wholesome slice of life romance stories like I am, you'll probably enjoy this one. I don't want to get too off in the meta stuff, but I do think the idea of a salaryman or just a guy in general being just so beaten down by life and work and kind of stuck in a rut that just having a young, attractive woman be his cashier is the highlight of his day really speaks to the state of a lot of men, which is kind of depressing. And unfortunately, I would imagine for a lot of guys, married or single or whatever, probably something they can relate to. Just the kind of day-to-day grind of life and obviously just constantly being taken for granted and just shit all over, blamed at work or home or whatever for everything wrong. And while that isn't me, there's definitely been points in my life that felt like that. And I think for a lot of guys, it's pretty relatable that they have maybe a bar that they go to to get a drink and just be around people. Obviously, if they're attractive women is nicer, but just kind of any socializing at all. I don't want to go on too long about that because that's, again, a huge topic that's a little bit heavy for the tone of this manga, but it is sort of the underlying premise is he just likes going to the supermarket to be served by a nice, young, attractive girl. And that's like the highlight of his day and seemingly life, because his day in, day out is just getting yelled at by his boss and exhausted all the time. So the joys that he has are smoking and a nice cashier. A more positive spin on that might be to try to appreciate the small things in life and try not to let yourself get bogged down by the long work days and just the stress of finances and everything else going on. I'm going to leave it here for this one. There's not a ton to say. It's just kind of a chill slice of life. I think you'll probably enjoy it if you check it out. Maybe you'll get an anime soon. Who knows? I don't know how popular it is. It's on Manga Dex and Manga Up after chapter 26. So if you have an afternoon to kill and you're into the genre, I'd recommend checking it out. If you've read it, let me know what you think. I try to respond to the comments that aren't just insults. Like and subscribe and all that shit. Thanks. See ya.